You're now joining Cats on Guard, the #1 podcast about life behind the cockpit door. We're going to share the untold stories from the sky. We're talking crazy layovers, oddball crew members, hotel and restaurant views, and more.
I'm MC Howe. From instructing, piloting, flight attending, I've been doing this since the 90s.
And I'm Captain Richard, and I've been doing this since 2006.
Hey, we're going to spill secrets from the sky.
Wouldn't that be dive bombing?
Lav dumping.
Welcome to Cats on Guard.
Once again, hello everybody. It's Cats on Guard. I'm MC Howe. Joining me as always is Rich Million.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone.
Good. I was going to call you your co-captain because you keep calling yourself that. But
when you say captain, I say co-captain. It's fine.
I know. It bothers me. We can't both be captains, though. A ship with no captain will go down, but a ship with two captains will go down even faster, I think.
I agree with you on that. That's a whole nother episode. But today's episode...
So this is Cats on Guard. This is the podcast where we are opening the flight deck door, letting you in on all the secrets, things that happen up there, things that you would never expect such wildly professional and upstanding citizens as your flight crew would ever partake in. But it happens, and we're telling you what they are. Unfortunately, today, we had some drama here at home, and I did not get a very professional start to the day. Although, to be fair, most of it happened last night while I was sleeping, and I slept through almost all of it.
Let me hear it.
Well, my daughter, they're going through midterms this year, this week at the school. She's got really big tests today. Been studying all week for these tests, and she could not sleep all night long. And apparently she was in and out of our room all night complaining, waking my wife up. And I slept through all of it.
For you.
So I get up this morning. Well, thank you. I feel a little bit bad, but I also feel a little bit rested. So not going to complain about that. But I went in to wake her up. She's already awake and complaining. She's been awake all night long. So stayed home from school today because you can't go, kind of like going into a check ride, completely a wreck, mentally not there. So there's no reason to send her to school and get all these tests done, and she's just going to do poorly on them. So she stayed home. And, well, to make her feel better, but also to bribe her because study time is coming, I just got her some McDonald's. We had some McDonald's for lunch.
What a good dad.
And it got me thinking, I know I am a good dad, and I didn't tell anybody. Now my wife started listening to this podcast, so it'll be a couple of weeks, but she'll finally find out that we had McDonald's, which I'm hiding in the garbage. More so to keep my son away from finding out while he's at school, actually taking his midterm tests. So,
anyway,
it got me to think. Yeah, it got me to thinking about these snacks that the meals that we get at work that we have to eat when we can. It's always a challenge, is it not?
Yeah, it also depends on what airline that you work for, or carrier that you work for, company you work for. I've had a varied range of meals provided to me from different employers, and I've had a varied range of providing myself with different meals depending on where I'm working and when I'm working. I mean, good luck finding a good meal at 3 a.m. in any given city. Near the airport, I should say. That's any sort of health or nutritional value, right? You're going to get McDonald's, Wendy's, Taco Bell. It's not good. But
if they're even open at 3 a.m.
Yeah. That changed recently too. I used to love my 24-hour McDonald's breakfast. I mean, everybody needs a McMuffin at 6 p.m. once in a while.
It's true, but then if you want a Big Mac at 6 a.m., you can't get one.
We got to talk to some people. When we get popular enough to be able to put these calls in, we're going to put these calls in.
I want to know, who came up with this? Who put this convention in place that we can only eat certain foods at certain times of the day?
I tell you, when we're big, powerful podcast leaders, we're going to storm into that McDonald's meeting and we're going to change the world.
Yeah, storming in usually does it, doesn't it?
Every movie says it does.
So what happens in these snacks that you have to, what do you kind of jumble them together from?
Snacks, meals, some places, the flight If it's long enough, if it's during certain hours, they'll provide the crew with a snack or a meal. Other carriers have no meals on board at all. Since those of you who've flown with the ultra low cost carriers, right, you've got to pay for every little bit, and you're encouraged. Well, you're not encouraged by them, but financially, you'd be encouraged to pack your own snacks. And the crew.
Do the crew have to pay for those meals too if they want?
So, to my knowledge, that some of them are supposed to, but I mean, it's just kind of unspoken. I think that if you want a bag of pretzels, that you grab a bag of pretzels from the cart.
Can you imagine you're flying one of these carriers that charges everybody for every little thing, and the pilot asks for a bag of pretzels and a Coca-Cola to wash it down, and the flight attendant didn't have to give them their credit card?
Hey, we got to edit that out. That's my phone ringing. It's not on vibrate.
Money bag.
Yeah, that's her name in my phone.
Does your wife know about her?
She does. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It used to be the old ball and chain, and she made me take old out of it, and then so it would just ring the ball and chain. But
this is 2 in a row where you've taken calls from your.
Well, I tried to get it done before we started here, and it didn't happen until now.
Nice. Well, that's how it goes sometimes, isn't it?
It is. It is. Well, anyway, so these snack carts, do you really think it would be wild to see the pilot break out a credit card and pay for that pretzels and a Diet Coke or whatever? Don't you think?
Yeah, and that's only because nobody takes cash anymore. I remember back in my flight attendant days when everything was cash only, and you'd always have one jackass on the plane, usually sitting in first class probably, and all that drinks were already free in first class. So some thinking he's the cool smart guy going to get away with buying a $3 bottle of vodka or whatever they cost back then, and handing out $100 bill.
Have fun with that.
And then his thinking was they won't make change; they'll just give it to me for free. And there was always a pilot that carried $100 in singles just to make change for this one guy. So
that's kind of generous. That's a really, really courteous thought of the captain there to do that.
Yeah, I don't know if he was doing it to be generous or just to thwart the guy's plans to get a free drink.
Well, I mean, do you bring your own snacks to work?
Yes and no. I always have a stash of things like granola bars or a nut sack in my bag.
Nut sack? Really?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. We used to have these nut sacks on the airplane. Protein pack, little nuts, mixed nuts and
stuff.
Like
a trail mix?
Yeah.
Raisins and M&Ms or something.
I have on occasion asked the flight attendant if they could grab my nutsack for me.
Oh no, you're an HR violation walking.
Well, I found it's all in your delivery. You can get away with it. And I have so far, but we don't have that snack on board.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So my favorite snack when I fly the ultra low cost has been the cheese tray.
Oh.
But that's the expensive one.
And cheese tray. That sounds like a first class option.
For low cost carrier flight, it is the first class option. It's the only thing that's like real. Even then, it's not real. How do you have cheese that doesn't need to be refrigerated? But a little bit beyond that, it was like the closest thing to not junk food on the plane.
I don't know if any plane has anything that's close to not junk food.
I mean, have you like any long range, international flight across an ocean? There's going to be meals. There'll be some broccoli in there, right?
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Yeah. And in fact, back in the old days, when airplanes used to serve actual meals, even on domestic planes, there was always, like my flight attendant days, there was always something left over. So if you're serving, a slice of pizza or a chicken dish or whatever it was, there was always somebody that didn't eat, or you were overstocked for the amount of passengers. There was always something. And some of those best meals, the better meals, were what were called special order meals.
Absolutely.
Which certain passengers with certain dietary needs could order ahead when they bought their ticket and have that one meal just for them. And sometimes they didn't eat it. Mm-hmm. And the best ones of all those special meals I found were the kosher meals.
Absolutely.
Which, it's so good. roast beef and mashed potatoes and gravy and all the side fixings. And they were just like, if there was one of those left over, I went straight for it before anybody else could find it.
Well, then in that case, you didn't have to access the bagged snacks that you brought, your nutsack and your granola bars. But
Correct.
I do eat on a dietary restriction level, if you will. I try to do the low carb, low sugar keto thing. And so trying to find
Yeah.
something that isn't carbs in the snack cart is nearly impossible. But those meals, like you said, the vegetarian meals, that's perfect. And then the kosher meals, chicken breast with usually broccoli or vegetables of some sort. I mean, they're absolutely great. But I do bring my own as well. Even no matter which job I've flown, I've always had the protein bars that get you over. You're waiting an hour for the hotel shuttle.
And these aren't meals. These are little things you can munch on for, take you 5 minutes if you're really slow about it.
But let me tell you about some of the best meals I've ever had, and I don't think almost anybody listening to this podcast will be able to relate to, but it was a meal on a FedEx aircraft.
Oh.
So I had the pleasure. Yeah, I had the pleasure.
Don't they just have boxes on board?
They do. And they also have room for, just like their passenger planes, they have jump seater space.
Okay, so I was going to ask, how does a regular guy like you just end up on a FedEx plane?
So we talked in previous episodes about how pilots commute and to and from work using the jump seats of other airlines, and they want reciprocation. And so some of these cargo pilots also need to get to work using the passenger airlines. So the passenger airlines and the cargo airlines have reciprocal agreements where you can ride on the cargo plane. Now, that doesn't sound very fun, right? It's just boxes back there. It actually was incredible.
Yeah.
It was a great experience. Without getting into too much detail, I coordinated with their jump seat person, website, organization, and they've jump seated on my carrier, and I got to reciprocate that agreement and jump seat on their carrier. But the cool part was they were nice seats. They were like business class size seats in this little area between the cockpit and the cargo. It's called the
so it's not
supernumerary.
just okay, because I think a lot of us have probably seen Tom Hanks in the Crash on the Island.
It's like that.
What the heck's that called?
Castaway.
So I remember him just sitting in the fold-up jump seat attached to the wall. You're saying there's actual first-class seats.
Later in that movie, or in that same movie, they're on the back. I think him and another coworker and they're sitting in first-class seats.
You're right. I guess I always assumed that was just on a regular airline.
But you could also sit in the jump seat. Nobody wants to do that for 16 hours.
No.
So
no.
So I go do the process. I learn for the first time how to do this. The first and the only time I've ever used them for a commute. And they had this kitchen on board, a galley, but it wasn't a galley like you see on your typical passenger plane. It was like igloo coolers in the wall full of ice and drinks, and another cooler full of these aluminum trays of food. And the captain comes back to brief everybody. We get our briefing of what our roles will be for the long flight over the ocean and how we're going to do things. And I think there was one other FedEx employee back there who already knew how to do all of these things. So he looks at me. He goes, "Have you never done this?"
So he was like your butler. He became your butler.
No, not at all. Actually, they put me to work because I was the new guy.
Oh, okay.
So they said, let me teach you how to work the oven and the microwave and how to do the drinks, and we'll let you know. And that could be, and I said, I'm happy to help. I'm really happy to have a seat on this plane. I really appreciate the ride, guys. Let me know what I can do. And the captain looked at, and there's 2 bunks they could sleep in because there's a multi-pilot crew. He says, there's only one of us is going to be in this at a time. So the other bunk, you guys can figure out for yourself when you want to use it. And I thought that was so generous to give us a bed to sleep in. I didn't use it. I didn't feel like I needed or deserved it because I was the new guy and I've never done it before. And it's not my place to ask for a bed. So I said, decline the bed. The other guy that was jump seating, he'd use the bed. But I think it was the first officer who came back. So in-flight secret, when you're in the air for a really long time, nobody's there to see if you're wearing your uniform or not. So the fancy pilot shirts came off, I guess, in cruise flight. I don't know how much I'm blowing up anybody's spot here, but it's pretty well known in the cargo industry.
That's what we're here for.
Absolutely. So he comes back. He goes, the captain will have the steak. I'll have the vegetable dish, and you all cook whatever you want for yourselves as long as we get our meals. And so then he gives me the quick rundown. I learned how to use a galley oven, how to prepare these meals, how to bring them up to the cockpit. I did a quick crash course on it, but boom, I got this. I set timers on my phone. I got to make everybody. I say I got the privilege of making everybody food in exchange for the ride, which was yeah.
Well, I'm impressed that you learned that all in the course of one ride, because when I was in stewardess school, it took us 6 weeks to learn how to do all that.
Oh, well, I don't know how well I did. They didn't give me any feedback, so I'll take no news is good news. Right? They ate the food I gave them.
Yeah, and you didn't end up on an island.
I did end up on an island. That's where we were going, but yeah.
Oh,
The plane landed safely on that island.
different.
It's
A different outcome.
Oh boy, but it was a great time. I thought it's something I'll probably never do again, and I have that in my memories forever. And oh, the other cool thing, these coolers. They said if you got any drinks or anything that you have in your bag that you want to keep cold, like just chuck them in. Like just make sure you take them out. I mean, I had all my drinks iced down I brought a few, diet root beers. I like diet root beer, and I just stuck them in there and keep them ice cold. And whenever I was in the middle of my Netflix movies that I downloaded, I was like, oh, I'd get myself a drink, and it was wonderful. The other cool thing was no jet lag in a cargo airplane. I was in a blank tube, and I just slept when my phone time, I left it on departure time zone, so I just slept whenever I got tired.
Isn't that interesting? That works, huh?
Yeah, well, I didn't see the sun for any of it, or the moon.
Yeah, interesting. It's funny, you talk about these throwing drinks in the cooler. Every now and then I will have something that I need to keep cold, and that's a pretty rare event that I do, but there's this one Mexican restaurant down in Florida where we used to live. My wife and I would go there still to this day, my favorite restaurant on earth. My wife's as well, and she loves the salsa. So if I get an opportunity to go to this place on a layover, I got to buy her some salsa, bring it home.
How do you keep it in a container all the way?
Yeah, but I got to keep it on ice, which is in the galley.
So it doesn't spoil. Yeah.
Right, because we don't have a cooler in the flight deck, so I have to.
Well, we do, don't we? We have a cooler. No, the spot.
Oh,
you're
talking about the window ledge?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I never thought about that. I'm always afraid if I put something there like a can of soda pop to keep it cold, and then we have to do an emergency landing, and I have to open that window. No, it's just going to jam, and I'm going to die because I was cooling my drink down.
Or salsa.
But the salsa goes in the ice box in the galley. And I don't know how many times I have thrown it in there and then forgotten.
Oh no.
And I get off the airplane and that's it.
Okay, so here's a hack for you.
Yeah.
Landing time plus 15 minutes. Set an alarm.
Okay. Yeah.
And hopefully after you're cleaning up your nest, the alarm will go off and you'll be able to grab your salsa on the alarm's command.
That's a good idea. I have a better one. On our iPads, we have all these charts for all the different airports that we go to. And on the taxi in page,
I know what you're getting at.
You can write notes on this thing, and I just write in big letters right across the page, salsa.
Tell me what the first officer thinks when they look over after landing checklist is done and they let you know and they see the giant word salsa across your iPad.
I don't know what they think. Most of them have never said anything to me, but if they had ever tasted this stuff, they would understand.
Okay, so you're telling me there's another guy that you just flown with for maybe a day, 2, 3, who knows, and they're just going to walk off not acknowledging the giant word salsa across your iPad.
Yeah, because I'm the captain. You don't say things to the captain.
Oh.
It's like you've said before, you have to be a chameleon, and so you go with it.
There's got to be some talker on your base where they're like the guy with the salsa words.
I'm sure I'm on the chat. I'm sure. The salsa guy. Oh, my God. How many of you guys have flown with the salsa guy?
The salsa guy. Oh, gosh, that's hilarious. Hey, I got to tell you.
To be known as the salsa guy.
I truly thought that you were going to tell me that the salsa sat on the window rail that keeps really cold in flight.
It hasn't in the past, but now that you've brought it up.
Let me tell you about something else. This goes for everybody in the terminal, whether you're a crew member or not. The all-day ice thermo flask, hydro flask, whatever brand of aluminum vacuum sealed container. I love making cold drinks from my all day ice thermos. I think I use whatever Costco sells, those 40-ounce hydro flask things, thermo flask, whatever it is. So I fill that baby up to the brim with ice. I shake it. I tap it. I bang it on the countertop at home, and then I fill it with more ice. And it's like a solid thing of ice because they can't take your bottle and make you empty it if it's frozen. So you can get ice through the TSA checkpoint, whether you're a crew member or a passenger. Now, here's the good part. I like to bring those little drink packets from the supermarket. You know how you can make a packet of Zero Gatorade, or you can make a Crystal Light, or you can make a iced tea. You know what I'm talking about? Those little packets?
Sure.
Okay.
I see those things everywhere.
So what I do, and now here's the thing, you buy or order a water, you get water from the water fountain at the airport. That water is typically room temp. Even if it says chilled water, it's never cold enough for a nice, crisp, cold Gatorade. So I bring an empty Dasani bottle, whatever those 16.9 ounce water bottles are, and I'll fill it with the room temp water. And I'll pour it into I think you watched me do this when we fly together. I'll pour it into the ice flask, and I'll let it get cold. It takes like 2 minutes before it's ice cold. And then I'll pour it.
You think that you think I have a strong memory of that? Like,
Maybe.
I think you're putting way more importance on this task.
No. So I'll tell you why. If you mix these drink mixes into your stainless steel bottle, they taint the flavor of your lid and your rubber seals.
Oh,
forever.
sure.
So I refuse to put anything more than just water in this thermos. So I need something to transfer flavored liquid. I know this sounds crazy, but.
Okay, I get where you're going. I was wondering why you were so excited to bring so much ice with you. So what you really just want is the cold water for mixing
Cold lemonade, cold Gatorade, cold iced tea. And then once that water's ice cold, I dump it back into that mix bottle, just a sacrificial disposable bottle. And I have my ice cold refreshing drinks of any flavor. I've got a little box in my backpack right here next to me, and it's got lemonade, iced tea, Gatorade. What are those Celsius energy drink packets? If you're just feeling a little tired, need to pick me up. Yeah, so travel hack.
Yeah, you're a walking barista.
Bartender? No, not bartender. That would be bad.
Well, what do they call the people at Starbucks? Let's call
baristas.
Yeah, there you go.
They make lemonades.
That's a safe word. That's a safe word.
Aviation safe. I'm an iced drink barista in the cockpit. How about hot stuff in the cockpit?
Hot stuff, yeah. How do we get hot stuff in the cockpit? That's a good question.
I hope we don't.
You either buy it in the terminal and run down and eat it while it's still hot, but that's not generally possible. In fact, I'll get stuff and I'll try because I want to eat a hot meal, and I'll do it during my pre-flight, and I end up getting grease and food stains all over my paperwork usually. But I have seen a few hacks, and I've even invented a few, possibly, back in the olden days. Now, back when we had ovens in the galley, obviously you could heat certain things up in the oven, depending on how you packaged it. And tinfoil was a big friend in any of those instances. If you didn't have, when the catering brings your meals, they put them in these oven-safe containers, so you can do that. But if you got your own food, that's another situation. I've had leftover pizza, or actually made a grilled cheese, or I attempted to make a grilled cheese once.
Where?
Using, I'm going to try that. This either happened in the airplane or in a hotel room.
Okay. I'm hoping hotel. Grilled cheese.
Using the coffee maker. So you got the hot plate that the coffee maker sits on. Right?
Oh, boy.
That heats up. You fill the coffee maker with the boiling hot water. So the pot is hot. Then you have your sandwich wrapped in aluminum foil. You place the sandwich on the hot plate. You put the boiling hot coffee pot on top of it, and hopefully it cooks evenly on all sides.
I like it.
Yeah, it didn't always work.
So
almost never worked, actually.
Have you heard of the Yeti breakfast burrito?
No.
Okay, so
Yeti. Yeti is that drink cup thing?
It's a cup. Any of those thermos cups with the plastic lid on top, right? That keep drinks hot for hours on end. So the breakfast burrito hack that I learned, I haven't done yet. I'm only doing the secondhand information. So somebody verify, email us, catsongguard@gmail. Let us know if it works. At home, you fill that cup with boiling hot water while you make your breakfast burrito. You can put your breakfast burrito in aluminum foil. Right before you leave the house, you dump that hot water out. The thermos is still piping hot. The breakfast burrito is still piping hot. And you pop that burrito in the empty cup. It's got a little moisture in there from the residual water, so it keeps it kind of steamy. And you pop that lid shut, and you throw it in your bag, and you take it to work. And I've heard, just a secondhand, that 3 hours after the pilot leaves the house and they're at cruise flight, that they have a nice steamy hot burrito.
That's genius.
Yes. I mean, and hopefully you didn't leak anything into your cup, and then your cup tastes like eggs. But
wouldn't you love to see like a YouTuber or somebody do some sort of a video on all the different trial and error that came up with these things?
so how about like a Mythbusters to verify our claims from our podcast?
Yes.
Somebody needs to.
That would be fantastic.
We need an affiliate YouTube channel.
There you go. Yeah, well, there have been other instances, people bringing hot plates into the flight deck.
Isn't that prohibited on most airlines?
Yeah, well, a lot of things are prohibited. I'll just say that. We've had people bringing in hot plates. I've had guys with MREs.
Ooh, that sounds amazing.
What do you call it?
Yeah.
Meals ready to eat. And I don't even know how they have a self-heating element in them?
They do.
Somehow?
They do.
Yeah. I've seen that from the preppers, the guys that are
the
guys that walk around with what?
I have MREs in my house.
Okay. So you're one of these guys.
I'm not.
You take them to work? Have you taken them to work?
I have not taken them to work. I have put them in my boat in case we get stranded. I have put them in camping gear in case we run out of food.
All right. Well, that's legit. I think if you're on an airplane, if you're traveling to an airport that is replete with restaurants, I'm not sure the MRE is really
Hey,
is that a necessity?
He's preparing for the castaway scenario.
I guess so. Yeah. Well, all that stuff happens. I've used, in addition to the hot coffee pot thing, I buy these from time to time. It's been a while. These little like Hormel, they're called Hormel Completes.
Is this Lunchables for an adult?
Yes. Yes,
it's adult
like
Lunchables.
Like a spaghetti dinner or a roast beef dinner or a roasted chicken and gravy. And actually, they're not that bad. I used to get them for like $1 each, $10 for 10 of them.
That sounds amazing. I'm paying $3 each for my kids' Lunchables, and it's half the material.
I'm going back in time. They're probably more than that now. But usually like 90 seconds in a microwave. They're good.
Let me tell
you.
Got to tell you about this. I don't know why this came to mind. This one dude I flew with eating bratwurst and sausages in flight. Like full on making a brat. It was awesome. I love it. It was
making the brat.
Okay, so it was kind of a meal preppy attempt to stay low carb, which I'm on board with. So this gentleman had 3 packs of like 3 sausages or 3 brats in a vacuum sealed bag, and he would freeze them at home. And he would use them as ice packs in his cooler, because as these ice packs defrost, they become his next meal. So he'd have 1 room temperature, 1 and 2 frozen, and then tomorrow he'd put 1 in the freezer of his hotel fridge and 1 in the fridge to slightly defrost the next day on the trip he had. So his lunch, I swear to you, the tray table came up. He popped this bottle of mustard out of his nest.
Nice.
And just started dipping bratwurst in a mustard. And
that is fantastic. That knows how to eat it.
Absolutely. Well, you like mustard with your brat?
Absolutely, okay. I do.
Yeah. I'm a mustard guy too. I've got many flavors of mustard in my fridge. But listen to this. So I said, how long have you been doing this for? He goes, a long time. I said, has anyone ever said anything about like these frozen ice packs made of meat? This is a genius idea. Nobody's caught on to this. Bring your food frozen and keep your stuff cold for the rest of your trip.
That is genius. Yeah, it really is. Yeah, because then you don't have to worry about like ice melt and you got water going all over the place now. And it's just,
When your stuff defrosts, you eat it.
And and you can keep that stuff frozen forever.
Oh,
it lasts forever.
I'll take your word for it.
That is the science of freezing. And believe me, I'm learning about it because it's in the 6th grade science midterm.
All right. Well, I want to talk about liquids. That's I'm on the cooler. I'm on the ice. I got to talk about the coffee.
You on the liquid diet, the coffee diet?
No, I'm not on the coffee diet. Some people don't trust coffee in the plane, ship's coffee. Some people swear by it. Some people refuse to, they'll go spend $6 Starbucks coffee every leg. That's a lot of money.
I think there's a concern about the healthful aspect of the aircraft water.
Isn't boiling water sterilizes itself?
That's how I always thought. But then I always think about like whatever parasites are in the water. If you boil it, they're dead. Yes, but their bodies are still in that water. You're still drinking their dead parasitic bodies, right?
You're
You
really
ever think about that? Well, there you go.
Well, there's this weird guy I know, and he carries a coffee kit with him. That weird guy is me.
Coffee kit.
Coffee kit.
What's a coffee kit?
So I don't mind drinking the ship's coffee. I'm okay with that. I just think that coffee is weak. But I'm too cheap to buy $6 Starbucks coffee out in the lobby, out in the the terminal area. So I bring a small container of instant coffee grinds that I scoop out of my Costco-sized container at home and put into a small Tupperware container, and I can spice my coffee up to the strength that I want it anywhere.
Okay, you're making this coffee using the ship's coffee pot?
Yep, flight attendant hands me a ship's coffee.
Okay,
it's weak.
So you're just making one pot of coffee using your own special blend only for you?
No, I'm not. I take their coffee. It's weak. And I just add a couple of granules, just a little half a spoonful of my instant coffee grinds, which dilute right into the ship's coffee. They make it taste better. They strengthen it up. And then I also carry in a little cups of creamer, because typically I can't get my favorite flavors of vanilla and hazelnut and what are those other flavors? You know those little cups at the hotel? Irish cream.
I do, and I don't look at them because full disclosure, I'm not a coffee drinker, so I'm just kind of sitting back and hearing this without really listening.
All right, folks at home, travel hack. Those little cups, they blow up and they get smushed and they pop. So,
oh no!
So here's what I did. I took one of those Chinese food containers, those dishes that snap shut. They're not super permanent, but they're if they break, it's not a big deal. And I put my coffee creamer little dish cups in there, along with a couple stir sticks and my container of instant coffee. So now I can convert crappy coffee into good coffee wherever I am.
I mean, you should have a coffee truck somewhere.
Oh,
we'll park it next to my donut truck.
Plenty of those anywhere. But hey, the pressurization in an airplane. So those little cups you open at the hotel and dip, or at your office, you drain your French vanilla into your coffee. When those expand, don't open them toward yourself.
Open them toward your partner, right?
Yes.
I remember sitting next to a guy who had one of these giant picnic coolers, like the kind on wheels that you drag around, and he had so much food. He had a full gallon-sized bag of London broil.
Ooh.
The long strips of beef, and it was just dripping with juice. And he was just pulling them out one strip at a time, eating them like chips.
At work?
And it was just, right there at his flying station. And I'm just watching. And I mean, it's like, if anyone is going to spill food all over, it's going to be this guy with the drippy beef. But then he's going to spill it on me, and I'm a good 3-4 feet away from him, and it's going to get it. But it happens.
So the popping of the creamer. So just to wrap the steak part up, he didn't make a mess, did he?
Oh yes, he did. Absolutely, he did.
I was really hoping he'd be a professional steak.
That's why I remember it.
Did he get any?
A professional steak eater sits down with a knife, a nice, good, thick steak knife, and a white linen cloth on his tray table, and what they're doing.
Man, that sounds delicious.
This guy was like Jabba the Hutt throwing the frog down his throat.
Oh, that's too funny. Oh my god.
In a similar build too, if I remember.
Oh no. So most airlines, they hand you those little bags of pretzels with like peanuts in them for free. I know. What's my favorite one of those cookies?
Pretzels and peanuts in the same bag? What airline are you flying on? That sounds awesome.
I can't remember. It's a snack mix, they called it. It almost was like a Chex Mix.
Sounds really good.
Yep. But those, so they're free. Here's the awkward part. They're tiny. They're tiny. It's not a snack enough. I feel guilty asking for a nut. Like, can I have 3 of those little tiny bags, please?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like when I was a stewardess, they used to tell us, you're going to fill up this tiny little cup. You're going to open your drink. You're going to open your Pepsi, fill it up with as much ice as you can, and pour as much Pepsi as will fit into this ice-filled tiny cup. So you get like 4 cups out of one can. And they said, well, if a passenger asks for the can, you give it to them.
Oh, deal.
Yeah. So that's like a hack, but only the flight crew knew about it. But I always felt bad. Like, can I have everybody else is drinking their 1/4 of a can and
3 ounces?
Yeah.
Ounce drink. I see the mind. They don't want everybody filling the lab. They don't want everybody getting to the bathroom at the same time.
Also, they only have a limited supply of these cans on the airplane.
That too.
You got 150 people and 30 cans of Coke. It's not going to go very far.
I tell you, all the flights to LA would just empty the Diet Coke stock on the airplane. Like LA and Diet Coke go hand in hand. So if I was ever flying to LA, I'd talk to the flight attendant, like, can you put a can or two of Diet Coke aside from what's going to go out down the aisle? And they would do that for me. It was so nice.
Yeah. It's funny. Back in my days, we always had one can of Diet Dr. Pepper on the plane.
What?
Yeah.
That's cool.
One can of Diet Dr. Pepper for that one, and somebody would always drink it.
Huh. They offered it?
Yep.
No, you offer that to the crew first.
Crew always does get the best stuff, and then all of a sudden the company realizes, hey, we're not making any money on these things, so out it goes.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Hey.
Which reminds me, you ever go in and you buy food, like you got a break and it's time to go into the terminal, you're going to buy food. And the flight attendants don't often get a chance to go because they're very, very busy in between flights. And they don't always get a chance to get meals. Sometimes the pilots will buy for everybody on the airplane. Have you ever done that?
You mean the captain will, because the first officer doesn't have that kind of money.
Well, yeah. And as the captain, I've done it, but I only did it one time. And it was such a nightmare for me.
Yeah.
Because, you're buying 7 different meals and you got to keep track of all this stuff while you go up there. And inevitably, you say you're going to go to wherever, sandwich shop, Subway, I don't know. And you get an order from everybody. And there's always the one person that says, oh, just get me whatever.
But it's not good enough when you get back.
No.
Oh, I don't know.
Because if that was me, because I am such a picky eater that I would never trust anybody to bring me a whatever, because I guarantee they would bring me something I hate. And so I know that if I'm given that task, I'm going to bring this person someone they hate. And you end up spending way too much money. It takes too long and you're going to get it wrong. And so I only did it one time and I said never again.
So I've offered I've gotten a couple of people something once. I've gotten one person something when they asked, and I'm happy, and I don't ask for money back for it. It's just, you get burned, like you said, trying to do a nice thing.
Yeah.
Hey, let me get something, and then somebody's got the 7-page long Starbucks order. Double mocha latte, no fat, non-fat, blah, blah, blah. Just like, hey,
don't be nice.
Coffee with sugar.
It doesn't help to be. It doesn't do you any good to be nice to anybody.
So on the cargo days, this wasn't out of pocket, but the captain was responsible at my job for getting the food for everybody. You could delegate it, but so here's the thing. We're already dealing with flying the plane and all the other business stuff. So typically we would try to delegate, but after enough times of the food just not being what we asked for or not showing up at all, we started doing it on our own. So it became almost like the pre-flight checklist for us. Like we'd get all the switches and the positions, and then we'd look around and we had a flight engineer, a load specialist, the first officer, the captain. So 4, sometimes 5 people on board. And we'd hand out a blank hotel pad, the ones you get next to your bed at the hotel. Everybody write down what you want. And it'd be, today we're doing barbecue. Tomorrow we're doing pizza. The next day we're doing Jimmy John's. Everybody write it down. And then I'd hand it to the first officers. I'm going to go work on some paperwork. You get this food order in for the next stop. And so we would buy food for the crew almost every trip.
Oh, for the next stop? Like you would call ahead or something?
Yeah, because we knew where we were going.
Yeah. And
we would just make sure it was at the FBO or the cargo ramp or the terminal, whatever we were doing. So it was ready for us.
Well, it brings up an interesting point. I was listening to you describe that, and I thought to myself, when we're at the airline world, all of our flights are scheduled on a specific time. You got to be out of the gate ideally on time. So you might have very limited and a finite amount of time to go buy that meal, get it to everybody. In your cargo world, did it work like that? Did you have scheduled departures, or could you just say, when we're ready, we go?
Well, some airlines, some cargo airlines have scheduled cargo. I flew mostly unscheduled cargo, but there was a schedule within the assignment. Picking up at 2 a.m. drop. We want you to have it dropped off by 6 a.m. here, unloaded by 7 a.m. There was a time schedule. It wasn't just a free for all, but it wasn't scheduled in the sense that 3 days from now I knew I was going to have a flight from A to B and then from B to C. We didn't know until the cargo was given to us.
So I have a question now. This just brings up another thought. So in the cargo world, did you ever fly like crates of food. Like you're going to the Costco warehouse with their, frozen fish or fresh salads or whatever it was that you dip into it because it was there.
There are so many cargo carriers that do food, and we were not one of them.
Oh,
I know there's like planes full of bananas that come in, right? Or like flowers and other meats. Fish gets flown in all the time. I think into JFK big time from like Asia and Europe.
Can you imagine? Everybody's got their. I remember flying with a guy one time who I couldn't stand this guy. We had a whole podcast to do just on this guy alone, but one of the things he did was, after annoying the heck out of me, he tore open a package of tuna fish. Stunk the place up to high heaven.
Was it me?
And it wasn't you. It was just so stinky, and I was steaming that he was. But then he started choking on it, and I actually started to enjoy it. So
you're a pain in the ass. How dare you? No, I bring tuna with me in my bag, in my kit. It's protein. But I always ask first, hey, would you mind? And out of 4 out of 5 times, somebody like, I really wouldn't like that.
Yeah.
And I go, no problem. I'll do peanut butter stuff instead.
Or you're the captain, you say, well, I'm eating it. You have 2 options. You can turn your air vents on full blast, or you can wear your oxygen mask.
It's common courtesy, right? You don't microwave popcorn in the office. You don't cook fish.
We're all trying to get along together. Yeah. And I can get along with anybody for 4 days. It doesn't mean I'm going to like you, though.
Speaking of the smell of fish, so my old airplanes, traditionally, I've only known this until the last year or two, the airflow in the cabin, when a cockpit, like it comes through the cockpit, all the air from the pressurization, and then it works its way back and it goes out an airflow valve at the back of the airplane. So air moves from the front to the back, like most airplanes. This new airplane.
So pilots get the freshest air on board.
They do.
As we should.
Yes. And hopefully like laboratory smells and food smells, they go backwards and away and out the bottom of the plane. But in my new airplane, everything goes forward and it actually goes up the front.
Oh, because you're flying VIPs around.
No,
you got to keep those CEOs' brains fresh.
No, that's not what I do.
No.
I'm Uber with wings.
I see.
I'm hailed to a place, and then I drop off, and then that's the end of it. So yeah, so the other day I learned my lesson with the forward-moving air. The galley oven had fish in it, and I would never have known had this been a different type of airplane, but as soon as that oven turned on, boy, I smelt it. And then I smelt it, and then I smelt it for like 20 minutes while this fish cooked. And I remembered to myself from my initial type rating training that the airflow will go that direction. So we get the lavatory smell, we get the food smell, but the passengers don't. So that's what's important in these airplanes.
Well, sometimes the lavatory smell is strong enough that it still comes forward.
I remember that too. Yeah, I do. Oh man.
Yeah, in our Airbus, it's right behind the captain's seat, and there are moments when somebody's in there. But eating all this food is definitely going to lead to some bathroom experiences, which I think that's a podcast all on its own.
Digestive fun, yeah.
Yeah, digestive fun in flight.
The airplane's on a 50-mile arrival, but number 2's on a short final.
Exactly.
Oh boy. Hey, so this tuna fish up, I gotta tell you, I impressed somebody. He was okay with me opening the tuna fish in flight. Now, where I was flying, there were not in-flight meals. There were just the snacks. And so I had brought some tortillas with me because tortillas make everything better, in my opinion. Tuna packet, I combined with the previously mentioned cheese tray, and I made myself a tuna and cheddar wrap.
I was going to say you were going to mention it you mixed the tuna with the previously in another podcast, peanut butter in the tortilla.
No, that's a different story.
Peanut butter and tuna?
Peanut butter and tortilla is pretty good too if you just need some quick protein and not messy. But
not peanut butter and tuna?
No, tuna and cheese sandwich. You know what? No. I could eat one of those and we can just do a review on what happened. Yeah, so that's how I make like a couple of individual snacks into a legitimate meal.
Oh, sure. It's like a hybrid.
Yeah, I don't have like if we have a 5-hour flight and I haven't packed an adequate meal, I'm just going to grab the emergency tortillas out of the bag, Starts getting some material in there.
Yeah, break glass to open, right?
Yeah. Well, so the peanut butter that keeps getting taken away at security because it's considered a gel.
A gel.
So if I'm in uniform, I could take peanut butter. But it's so cheap. Like if I lose the $3 peanut butter, it's not the end of the world. But I do like having it. And so, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, what about the little peanut butter packets that you get like at the breakfast bar?
Yes, I should have those. Then they can't take those away from me.
Right, because they're small enough to go through.
So like it's not filling enough.
But if you have 100 of them, will they allow unlimited numbers of below the limit?
3.1 ounces is okay. 3.2 is deadly. So,
well,
back to the TSA. Okay. So the peanut butter thing. Remember I told you about the tiny little pretzel packets that aren't food for anybody?
Yeah.
So if I don't want to be rude or I don't see the flight attendant again, I'm in the back as a passenger. I just want to make something more out of this tiny little packet of pretzels. I take the peanut butter out and I do peanut butter and pretzels. And now it adds some more consistency, a little bit of protein, a little more deliciousness to the pretzels.
Yeah.
So you're like doubling.
Peanut butter makes everything better, doesn't it?
It does.
It's like I said to my daughter today. She was home from school and she's, make me some waffles. So I made her some waffles and I threw the butter at her. I said, butter makes it better, baby.
You're a butter on everything guy, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen the price of butter at Costco? Boy. Whew.
I don't look at prices. I make mad captain money. I don't need to worry about that. Come on.
I still price shop. I'm cheap.
Well, you get everything at Costco. The thing is, you're buying so much of it. Like we were at Costco yesterday, and there are so many olds there. And all these olds, figure probably live alone or with a spouse. Or there's no kids in the house.
What do they need
and
Costco
they're buying warehouse style sizes. And it goes bad. Do they just eat it as it's bad?
Honestly,
because they bought it.
No, yeah. I agree with them. Because I've worked the math out, and even if you let a third of it go bad, you still paid the same amount as the grocery store, but you had the option of having more.
Well, look at you. Good.
So speaking of cheap bastards like me, I'm a cheap guy. What's the best bang for your buck with these onboard snack purchases, these extras on certain airlines?
So you're talking about as a passenger.
They have like regular snacks that everybody gets for free, right? But then you could buy that extra thing.
Some of them have like sandwiches, like wraps and stuff, right?
Snack boxes, meal boxes.
Yeah. I don't know, because as an even cheaper bastard than you, I would never buy such a thing.
Love it. What a great answer to that. So
yeah,
I personally try to look for like the how full will I get with this meal. I don't look at it as like, oh, that looks like a delicate assortment of pistachios. I'm not going to get full on pistachios. You know what I mean? So
a lot of protein in there, though. No,
they don't give you enough to make it worth it. It's still like a half an ounce pack of pistachios. So I'm looking at like, okay, this one's $8 and it has some jerky in it and some nuts. And okay, so this is going to fill me up by the end of this $8 snack. Or a sandwich. A sandwich will fill me up for sure. And it's $10. Okay, so $2 more. I know I'm going to get full. I'll get the sandwich. But some of these things, it's like, it's just a waste of money.
I can see you sitting there with the in-flight menu in your hand and the calculator in your other hand, running down the cost analysis of this snack box.
Hey, maybe I should run the airline someday.
What is the cost to calorie versus protein ratio, and is it worthwhile?
So cost to calorie is actually in my head.
I believe you.
I've had discussions with people that go for the Otis Spunkemeyer muffin.
Uh-huh.
It's like a big muffin, blueberry or banana nut.
I've seen it. I've eaten it.
It's got the best calorie to dollar ratio on the. It's like usually $3 at the airport, but it's like 1,000 calories. It is a lot. It's like getting a Big Mac from McDonald's for $3.
Well, it's not a bad gig. And Big Macs used to cost $3. Used to get a whole value meal for $3.18.
Stop bringing up the past.
I'm stuck in it.
So when you're on this health kick, we all got to get healthy at least once every 6 months, right? Before we go to the doctors.
Yeah.
What do you do to get healthy while you still have to go to work and eat garbage food?
I try to drink mostly water.
Good.
That's a number one. And there are a lot of high protein, low calorie things like turkey, sliced turkey, things like that. Minimally, can you help me with that?
Minimally
thank you, processed foods, because the processing really adds a lot of crap to these things. But things like turkey and nuts, I will slurp down the nut sack because it's full of proteins, and it does keep. I was on a little health cook for a while. I actually had gone to the hospital and I got some bad test results, and I went and saw my doctor, and he had all these things. A year later, I had gone through this whole transformation, and he walked in and he looked at me and he's like, "Wow, just keep doing it."
Nice job. Congrats.
So yeah, well, then I stopped. So I got to get back on that health kick again. So, but these in-flight snacks don't help that at all. You know,
no, you really have to bring your own.
You can only eat so many salads too before you need some real food.
I disagree. I can eat the Costco chicken Caesar salad every day if you gave it to me.
That doesn't sound good.
It's made with their rotisserie chicken.
Oh.
They give you a packet of Caesar salad to put as much or as little on as you want. So you don't have, when you get a pre-made salad, it's just so soggy, full of dressing.
Yeah.
Costco doesn't do that. Costco, you can send me a check later for this pump. But yeah, they give you just the bag, and you can.
Costco owes us a lot.
Oh man, these aviation families already know. It's a vital part of our organization. So, so I've brought them to work in a little cooler bag, and I'll take it out and try not to make a mess of the tray table. But it's just too much food. You almost couldn't finish it. The chicken is always moist because it's rotisserie chicken from the rotisserie sampling. It's so good, and it's not 100% healthy because I'll admit I've used the entire bag of dressing more than once.
The dressing is where they get you. Absolutely, it is. It's all in the dressing.
But if you're light on the dressing, use half a bag or less. You're doing good.
I remember my mom when I was a kid. She used to eat her salad without dressing because it was healthier.
Is that even possible?
There's nothing in it. It's like you're not even eating at that point.
Chew celery while you're at it. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, you put peanut butter on celery.
Some people do that. I've seen that.
Peanut butter on celery.
Peanut butter and celery. That's a big deal, right? There you go.
So what other?
Maybe you should. You know what? In addition to my donut truck and your coffee truck, it sounds like you're ripe for a peanut butter truck.
I mean, anyone can do that without the truck. They sell them in pocket-sized bags.
I guess that's true.
You don't need me for that.
Well, the kids like it.
They do. Oh, so speaking of the kids, sitting in the back of the plane, like you've flown with kids, I've flown with kids. I hate bringing messy snacks for my kids to eat on the plane. And my wife is insistent on bringing messy, crummy snacks. And it's just an ongoing battle. What are your best snacks that kids should eat on an airplane?
Well, like everything just leaves crumbs, like crackers, Cheez-Its, popcorn, goldfish.
Yeah, you can't.
They all leave crumbs. Gummies.
Oh, sugar them up before you sit them in a tube for 4 hours? Good idea.
Why not? I don't know.
So I've come up with
milkshakes.
Less crummy than like crackers would be like those Fig Newton bars.
Oh, sure.
They're like sticky-ish material, enough that it doesn't crumble.
Yeah. I can see those crumbling.
Because even at room temp, they still eat them. They don't really go bad immediately.
The mozzarella cheese sticks, as long as TSA doesn't mistake it for dynamite
or a gel. They could call it a gel when it's soft. I don't know. Don't try this at home, folks. Yeah, it's dynamite cheese sticks. Yes, it's an ongoing battle, but I'm always on the hunt for something that's going to not make a mess of the airplane for the cabin crew afterward. Trying to be
my daughter likes sushi. Would that make an appropriate snack for the kids?
See, airport sushi? I don't know. How do you feel about airport sushi?
I don't feel much about sushi from anywhere, but some people like it. So wherever you get it, to me, I don't know if that makes a difference.
Well, it's not crummy, but it is. You could spill soy sauce on everything. That's a risk.
That is true. And I have had a number of occasions to clean up after somebody else got out of my flight deck and left me quite a mess on the tray table.
Isn't that
they just fold up their mess and put it away for me.
So that was part of my OCD routine on that airplane, was to take a Sani wipe and wipe the tray table down before I prepared my peanut butter and tortillas.
Smart. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You gotta be smart with the food you bring, and you gotta be you gotta be clean afterward.
I don't care if you don't want to be clean for yourself. I just be courteous to the person after you.
Leave it for the next person.
Yeah,
Absolutely. We're living in a society, people.
Common courtesy. It goes a long way.
That's it. Well, you know what? All this talk about food, now that my McDonald's is digested and it's time to go pick up my son, I think we're going to stop at Taco Bell on the way home.
I like it. More food. More junk.
There you go. Hey, if you guys have any questions about any of this, any suggestions, hey, we could use some snack suggestions here. Send them to catsonguard@gmail.com. We'll try to figure out a new way to live and eat.
I'm Richard Million. I'm going to go have a snack. I'm hungry now, too.
And I am MC Howe. We'll see you next time.